Alright guys, Bit here again today, and first off, thanks for 11,000 subscribers. I haven't said this yet in a video. Still though, in the last month, 40% of my views have come from people who aren't yet subscribed. So if that's one of you guys, maybe you haven't even realised you're not subscribed because YouTube keeps recommending you my videos, you're not even aware, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would. And yeah, thanks for everyone who subscribed recently to get us to 11,000. And yeah. Seems to be no downside to subscribing from my perspective, so yeah, thanks a lot for that. Like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, as always, all the good stuff. And let's get into the content of the video here. So a couple of things I wanted to mention before we begin, then we're going to get into the main topic here. And you know, when you see the title, I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking, well, you know, of course OpTic and, you know, these big orgs are going to get a spot in the Overwatch League. Don't be so sure. I think I'm going to bring up a couple of things today that that you may not be aware of that are going on behind the scenes with OpTic and some of these other organizations as well, and very interesting with Slasher, Rod Bruzo or something, the esports journalist. So we'll get into that today. A couple of things to mention to start with. Mad Cat is going to be teaming with Zeke Nache and Risk, some of the old Denial guys, for the rest of the season, it seems. We also have the following here from Enable. This is interesting because I know I mentioned in Monday's video recapping, you know, CWL London, that Slasher had said at the casino that they, in the pool play, they played OpTic on, well, OpTic's, you know, best maps to see how they stacked up and trying to throw them off a little bit when they played them again later on in the tournament because they felt like that pool play match didn't really matter. Enable says the same thing in this very interesting interview with Jacob Hale over at Jinx TV, so I'll link this down below. You faced OpTic Gaming in the winners final. I think most people thought this would be the grand final too. How confident were you heading into that series after they beat you in pool play? We were very confident. This is Enable. In the pool play match, we didn't play that well. I played really bad, but we played some of their stronger maps to see how we stacked up. We know we have a better map pool than them, but the maps they're good at, they're really good at. After we lost, we were laughing because we knew they would mess up if we played them again in the bracket. They would think we would want to play certain maps. I've been saying it for as long as I can remember. We're the most fundamentally correct team, and talent-wise, we're probably the best, if not top two. Going up against them, we know they're an amazing team, but if we just play the game correctly, we know that we can stay in and be able to clutch up. So, very interesting there, really. Like, now, I don't know whether I can say whether this was the correct decision or not to play OpTic's stronger maps in pools, because of course they lost the series, and of course they're very close to losing that control when they rematched up with them again. But at the same time, they did end up winning the tournament, and so, well, what can you say? Impressive stuff. Also, Silly's got engaged, so I thought I'd bring that up for those guys who might be aware. Pretty damn nice ring he got as well. Sheesh. Okay, let's get on with the content. So, a few days ago, it was confirmed the first 5 CWL teams for the franchise have been confirmed. Now, I'm not sure whether it's going to be the CWL or the CDL. Codburner was talking in some Reddit posts, which I'll probably go through in another couple of days. There has been this interesting thing where Activision supposedly held a meeting with a load of potential investors, and they brought up these like 200-page spreadsheet or something like that. Supposedly Codburner has all the images. And, well, a lot of the images said some interesting things. Supposedly, maybe Call of Duty might be going to PC on the second year. And, well, some interesting things to do with the amateur side. I'll probably cover that in a few days' time. Of course, I want to be a little bit wary because Activision have taken down these images off the internet. So CWL Intel posted them, and Codburner put them up onto a video image hosting website, like an Imgur or Imgur, I don't know if you want to pronounce it, one of those type of websites, and they've now been removed. So Activision is basically going around the internet striking down all of this content, which of course is the Streisand effect, because you're effectively just telling everybody that it's actually true. Well, at least it does seem that way. So it's interesting, probably go through that in a few days' time. There's a few interesting things, and Codburner reckons he's going to put even more of this information out there. So I won't be showing any of the images, but I will probably at some point be talking through all the complexities. So this came out just a day or so before CWL London began. The first 5 CWL franchises have been confirmed. So in Atlanta, we have the Atlanta Esports Ventures. The Overwatch League team is the Atlanta Reign. Thanks to this image for Cheddar Esports, they did a great interview with Slasher, as I mentioned, and I'll link that down below as well. Dallas, Texas, Team Envy have confirmed. So Dallas Fuel in the Overwatch League, and also in the CWL, they have Team Envious at the current time, or Team Envy, whatever. New York, Sterling Venture Capital, the NYXL Overwatch League team. In Toronto, the Toronto Defiant, and in the CWL, the same owners own Splice. And then in Paris, we have Contact Gaming, which are currently Paris Eternal in the Overwatch League. Now, whether, this is Overwatch League, this is CoD World League, maybe this will become like CDL, Call of Duty League or something like that. I'm not sure, because that's how CoD Banner was describing it, as I said. But obviously, this isn't going to be the team name going into next year, and I'll show you exactly why that is in just a second here. So a lot of people are looking at this thinking, okay, well, we've got a lot of these big venture capital guys coming into the scene. And this is what I was kind of worried about, because it was announced ages ago by Richard Lewis that the Overwatch League owners got the first bid effectively for their region. So I was expecting a lot of these owners to go pretty damn hard to get their region, because if they have that city for Overwatch League, it's really pretty high incentive to also have that city for the Call of Duty League as well. So we'll have to see how it goes, but a lot of these teams already, out of, well, what should be 16 franchise spots, I would imagine, maybe they'll up it to 20 or something like that, but it seems like it should be 16 at the current time. Maybe it will go up in the future, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's actually been confirmed, but, we can already see that out of the teams we've got in the league right now, Envy and Splice are the only ones that are currently confirmed, which of course is very interesting, because OpTic, FaZe, and 100 Thieves, I guess, are probably the biggest brands right now in Call of Duty. None of them are in here. And it's intriguing because, OpTic, a lot of OpTic fans, I'm sure, would have seen this and expected OpTic to be right here, Biggest organization. If Envy can do it and get in there super quick, why can't OpTic do the same for, well, Houston, which they're in the Houston Outlaws in the Overwatch League? Now, this may hold some answers. Sorry this is very small, but the ESPN website is just horrible. I'll link this down below as well. So anyway, this is an article from way back in January, and I wasn't aware of this at the time, even though I may have heard it. So you guys know now that OpTic are owned by Infinite Esports. Hex doesn't really have that much control anymore. OpTic J, Ryan Musselman, is now one of the very senior guys up at Infinite. So this is what was revealed back in January. Texas Esports, the majority owner of Infinite Esports and Entertainment, is preparing to offer its stake in the multi-team esports organization for sale at the price tag of $150 million or more, company sources told ESPN on Sunday. Infinite, which owns OpTic Gaming's brand and the Overwatch League Houston Outlaws, is consolidating its other business in preparation for the listing of Texas Esports' stake. And then we had this from just a couple of days ago from Jacob Wolf following up on this at the ESPN. Immortals have completed a $30 million Series B funding round and will rebrand their holding company and undergo executive changes that include founder Noah Winston stepping down from a managerial role in the company, the team told ESPN on Wednesday. So, yes, Immortals, this team you may have heard of. They've had CS teams in the past. I haven't really heard of them from other esports, but it's definitely a big name. They own MIBR and the like. And okay, they also own the Los Angeles Valiant in the Overwatch League. Okay, so that makes sense. Immortals will rebrand their holding company to be named Immortals Gaming Club, which owns the Immortals, Los Angeles Valiant, and the MIBR brands. The company has also acquired Gamers Club, the leading Brazilian game matching platform. This is what we're interested in. Among these opportunities, Immortals is currently one of a few bidders looking to acquire part of Infinite Esports and Entertainment, which would include OpTic Gaming and the like. So the paragraph goes, and it only mentions this briefly, but that is the title of the article. I'll link this down below. Effectively saying that Immortals may be in the running to buy out OpTic Gaming. And if they do so, who knows exactly what direction they will go? Will they sell off the Houston Outlaws somewhere else? Will they actually decide to invest in Call of Duty? I think Slasher made a very interesting point where effectively it seems like Activision need FaZe and OpTic for their viewership more than OpTic and FaZe, whoever ends up buying them. Or, well, FaZe is a different story. We'll get into that in just a second here. But OpTic especially, it feels like Activision Blizzard and the CDL or the CWL, whatever it's going to be next year, need OpTic more than the other way round. And I'm very even though they haven't had previous partnerships with 100 Thieves and FaZe, if I was Activision, I'd really be heavily trying to ensure that these brands are in the league. Of course, there's no guarantee that they will even be called something related to their organization, which is a fear we've had for a while. This is a tweet from Team Envy, which has now been deleted, with President and CEO Jeff Moore on the podcast this morning talking about the future of Team Envy. Picture your best Call of Duty team name and why below. We'll read our favorites on the show. Pictures a Call of Duty League team name, the Dallas something, which kind of implies it's not going to be the Dallas Fuel, so it's not going to be the same name as the Overwatch League team, but it doesn't necessarily imply that it's going to be like the Dallas Envy or Envy Dallas or something like that, you know. So this was deleted, so maybe it is slightly misleading, but still, it's something you've got to keep in the back of your mind. This also came out a couple of days ago. CoD Burner says orgs are bidding over 60 million for the LA franchise spot, because I think Overwatch has like 2 LA teams, the LA Valiant and the like. So if Immortals are thinking about buying OpTic, then, well, maybe they're going to be heavily in the bidding for this Los Angeles spot. Whether there'll be 2 spots, I don't know. Maybe it'll expand over time. Have to see how it goes. So OpTic are in a little bit of an interesting situation right now, because their parent company Infinite looks like it's going to be up for sale, and therefore who knows what exactly happens to OpTic right now. And that is probably largely the reason why they haven't initially invested right here straight into the Call of Duty World League. Now FaZe don't necessarily have the money. A lot of FaZe's money is like grassroots. They built it through the ground of Call of Duty. They don't have the crazy investment and venture capitalist investment that a lot of these other firms have. So whether FaZe even have the money to splash out 25, if not more million, Sir Scoot has been saying that it's likely up to like 40 million in many areas. If it really is 60 mil in the LA spot, like, this is just crazy money. There's no way this spot is actually worth this much, but it's esports, man. Like, anything goes right now. Is people think it's just a free way to the gold mine, and it does worry me to some degree, because if they start realizing, hang on a second, we can actually sustain losses here, then well, the whole league might crash, and I think Overwatch will encounter that problem, if it is one, sooner than Call of Duty will. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, FaZe may not even have the money, according to Slasher. This is not the player Slasher, just to make that clear. I'll link his very interesting interview down in the description box below. And also, he said 100 Thieves, of course. Nadeshot, massive organisation, just won the most recent event. Slasher reckons that some of the guys in that organisation said that we're not really sure the CDBL is worth it, because at the end of the day, Nadeshot's a CEO. He's got a fair bit of money behind him, obviously, like Drake's had this big investment, but the amount of money going into the CWL right now is absolutely ridiculous. They would, of course, like, 100 Thieves should be in the CWL. It's such huge branding, and if I was Activision, I'd be trying to give them some sort of way to get them into the league, as with OpTic Gaming, even lowering the price. But of course, at the end of the day, it's all about that dollar. And as we've seen, there's no guarantee right now that they're even going to be in the league. So I'd love you to leave your thoughts on this down in the comment section below. I find it very interesting. These are the first 5 teams that have been announced. No OpTic Gaming, no FaZe, no 100 Thieves. I don't know when the next round of announcements will come along, but if FaZe really don't have that much money to invest, 100 Thieves are not particularly maybe willing to invest, might need to do some sort of deals with Activision in order to give it a reasonable amount of money, because I think anyone with their brain screwed on, really, who knows something about esports, like Nature, and I'm sure the guys over there do, I think Slasher was saying that when the Overwatch League came about, 100 Thieves decided to invest into the LCS, the League of Legends Championship Series. They thought that was a much better investment for the amount of money it cost. LCS was like 10 million, Overwatch League was like 25 million. So 100 Thieves obviously have their head screwed on a little bit here. And I'm not saying this investment will necessarily be tragic in the long term, but it's just like, well, I'm not sure how it's going to work, because OpTic, FaZe, and 100 Thieves currently don't have a spot. We will have to see how it goes down the line. So thank you guys so much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time.